Hey guys, I'm Aaron and welcome to this video. Today I will teach you why formatting is very important in Excel and why a sheet like this is not very useful, because if it looks like this, you actually know where to put the assumptions, where to write everything, where it's being calculated, where it's been referenced to a different sheet. And I will show you why this is very important for financial modeling in general and why you should use it too in your cash flows, in your financial model, and wherever you might use it. So let's jump right into it. Let's start right here. I have put up a little legend in the corner of this sheet here. And this is just a recommendation from my side. This is not how you have to do it or how it's commonly done. This is how I do it. And I have seen a few cash flows. So people usually tend to use these colors, but many people also use different colors. It's just very important that you stick to a certain color, because for people who open your financial model or your cash flow and they go through it, it's very hard to realize where the numbers come from. And it's very easy to understand if you have a clear color code. So this is why it's very important. I usually tend to go with inputs with either blue color or blue color with a light yellow background. This is a very clear contrast to the white, and it also differentiates very well from the black. So that really helps, and it's very clear to do this at an input color. For formulas or calculations within the sheet, I tend to use just black and keep it black, because I really think this helps keeping the model not too overloaded with colors, and that's also something I don't really like. Once I link to a different worksheet, I usually tend to use a green color. And if I link to a different workbook, I usually format it in purple, because this doesn't happen too often, at least in my case. I don't know how many times you link to different workbooks. So that's why purple is used. Now I will show you what this looks like in a very simplified financial model right here. As you can see, I have just put an example assumption up here in the corner with the income in year one with $100,000. So I formatted as blue because this clearly states that this is an input. So if I change this like to 20,000, you see that all these cells are dependent on them. So if I press Alt-MD, I can see the dependence of this input cell. So in this case, it just links to the income. It's just a very simplified scenario. And then I have already formatted it here in green for the recurring expenditures, just for an example, because this links to a different sheet. Here in this example, it's sheet 3 down there in the bottom. And the recurring expenditures, I have put an input here for 3%. So you can see this value comes from a different sheet, and that's why I formatted in green. And this keeps it very clear to see where do these assumptions or the values for this formula come from. And in this case here, I formatted black because all the calculations happen within the same sheet and there's no reference to a different sheet. So it just sums up the values of income and recurring expenditures. So this is why the NOI in this case is formatted black. So the same for non-recurring expenditures. In this case, the assumptions are also on this sheet here. So this is why I formatted it in green. The unlevered cash flow, yet again, is a sum. So this is black. And just in case you want to compare something to a different cash flow or something, I have put an example here to format these values in purple in case it links to a completely different workbook, like not within this, in this case it's called color code model, not to this workbook, but to a different one. So in that case, I would format it purple. So what I also tend to do, if you put like hard-coded values in, let's see you want to override this value right here with like 50,000. And it's not clearly visible that this is not a calculation or it doesn't depend on a different sheet. I tend to format it just as red, so it's very obvious in this case. But this really depends on how you want to do it. Some people use orange, some people just highlight it yellow, or yeah, you can do whatever you want. It's just very important to stay consistent and to give your overall cash flow or the whole workbook a very unique and consistent look. So just as an example, I have copied out one of my assumptions tabs of one of my cash flows that I use. So if there's no formatting involved in these numbers, it's very hard to differentiate between input values, calculated values, or references to different worksheets. So this is why I use formatting, and I will show you what it looks like. This is the Assumptions tab, nicely formatted. As you can see, you now understand if this is calculated within the same worksheet, or if it's an input, or let's see if there's a green value somewhere here. For example, this references to a different sheet, so this is why this is formatted in green. So I tend to be very consistent. I think it's very important that you do this, also for other people to understand your cash flow. Please let me know if you have any questions or any feedback regarding these assumptions or the color codes that you use. Also happy to hear what color codes you use or what theme you do throughout your cash flows. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.